I just want to add one other thing, Sam, because it's not in the law, but it's something that we've seen and we've talked about a lot in terms of good practice in organizations. And that's putting in place some real clarity between the employer and the employee about expectations on both sides. So when people come on staff, having a contract, lots of organizations have a contract. It doesn't have to be a huge document, but clarity about what are the hours of work, what are the benefits, did you receive a copy of the personnel policy, what are the main tasks that you need to accomplish, how do you report on the work you're doing and problem solve on that work, having that in some kind of a document that people receive, contract, memorandum of understanding.
Yeah, and these kinds of things reduce conflict in the workplace, they establish clarity, and then they just help folks understand what their responsibilities are in the day-to-day. And
then often organizations have job descriptions in place, and that's really handy in terms of kind of overall, what are you responsible for doing, what are the big tasks, who do you work with or who do you report to, who do you navigate doing that work with, so that there's some kind of accountability in place for you also.
What happens if there's a problem, if there's a complaint? I mean, there are mechanisms that we can have internally to avoid ever getting to the nom de travail. Something's going wrong, you feel you're not getting paid your overtime. We can have a way that, you know, you see, oh, this is who I talk to, and that's where I appeal inside the organization. And that can really, really help to de-escalate situations.
Yeah, and that can come through the contract, it can come through the job description, it can also come through two other places. One is some kind of a job review, evaluation, work planning process, and we often in the community sector get into saying, okay, you know, we need to do these annual reviews. It's challenging to make them happen, but how can we put in place formalized enough system so that there's a feedback mechanism on the way we're working, and it could be from the team that we're working with, it could be more with a supervisor, and some place where we can start to document in the organization, both sides, employer and employee, what is the feedback that's being given, what is going on in terms of that relationship, so that it can be healthy and change as needed from both sides to work effectively.
And let me try to guess, was the second point you were going to talk about policy? Yeah. So we see a lot of organizations think, oh, policies, I hear those are useful. Maybe I'll just take another organization's policy and call it my own, you know, cut and paste, change my name throughout. I think it's pretty important to think about what policy works for your organization in particular. Something that we've seen create good, strong, and long-lasting policy is to consult everyone who's going to get affected by the policy, so they can say, this line here, it doesn't make any sense. It has nothing to do with what I do in the day-to-day. But you can have a couple of popular policy types are...
Well, so personnel policy is really good. The law's there, but putting the law out there clearly and the added benefits. The other one is some kind of conflict resolution policy is a really fundamental one.
And then even things around vacation, around how you track your hours. What are some other popular ones around?
So within personnel policy, getting clear, vacation, overtime, tracking of hours, conflict is often in there. Confidentiality in terms of working with a lot of client groups is really important.
Very true.
And we have a couple of, not to sort of take off the shelf, but examples of different kinds of personnel policies. And it's nice to see what others who do work similar to your organization have done and what they've got in place. And then to work from there, as Sam was saying, and that's so important, with the people who are going to be affected by the policy, to adapt and adjust and really make it a process. So it's not just getting policy in place, but it's a learning educational process for the whole organization to understand better what is the way that we work and that we want to work as an organization. And that way we can have healthy employer-employee relationships.
And it's pretty exciting stuff. You know, you're building your ideal healthy organization together, and we don't always have the opportunity to do that kind of like active engagement in creating the world that we would want to see. So
we think it's exciting.
Yes.
I hope you do too.
Thank you so much.